Senior archivist Zix 427 had never seen her quantum processors glitch before. Yet here she was, running the same analysis for the fourth time, her crystalline appendages trembling as the results remained unchanged. The application from Earth wasn't just unusual, it was impossible. The Great Hall of the Galactic Federation's Application Center stretched endlessly above her workstation, its bioluminescent walls pulsing with the combined knowledge of 10,000 civilizations. But none of them, not a single one, had ever submitted an application like this. First Overseer, she transmitted, her thought patterns tinged with urgency. I require your immediate attention. First Overseer Nix's materialized beside her station, his form shimming with the iridescent patterns that marked his high rank. Speak, Archivist. We've received an application for advanced species classification from Sol 3. From humans. She projected the data into the space between them, watching as Nix's color patterns shifted from calm blue to alarmed amber. That's not possible, he stated. They achieved FTL travel barely 40 years ago. The minimum waiting period is 3 centuries. The application is perfect, Zix 427 continued. Every criterion met, every form completed with precise accuracy. But that's not what concerns me most. She highlighted a section of the data. Look at their testing preferences. Nix's patterns turned a deep purple of shock. They want to take all trials simultaneously. That's never been done. The psychological strain alone. There's more, Zix 427 interrupted, breaking several protocols of etiquette. They included what they call a highlight reel of their species' achievements. I've analyzed it. You need to see this. The projection changed to show humans in various situations. A female lifting a ground vehicle to save a trapped infant, a male running into a burning structure to rescue strangers, a group of humans forming a chain in raging waters to save someone from drowning. Each scene more inexplicable than the last. These aren't their heroes or exceptional individuals, Zix 427 explained. This is normal behavior for them. They evolved on a Class 13 death world, First Overseer. Their planet actively tries to kill them on a daily basis. Instead of leaving, they built civilizations there. Instead of cowering from their world's dangers, they treat them like challenges to overcome. Nixis watched in fascinated horror as the projection showed humans participating in what they called extreme sports, deliberately putting themselves in danger for what appeared to be entertainment. Their application includes a note. Zix 427 continued. They say they're submitting early because, and I quote, we figured we might as well give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? The First Overseer's patterns cycled through colors so rapidly that Zix 427 sensors had trouble tracking them. What's the worst that could happen? He repeated incredulously. The trials have driven multiple species to complete psychological collapse. We had to help the Centaurians rebuild their entire civilization after they attempted the trials too early. Yes, but Zix 427 hesitated, then displayed one final piece of data. The humans included their response to potential failure. They say if they don't succeed, they'll simply try again. Their exact words are, every failure is a learning opportunity. Nixis went completely still, his patterns fading to the white of deep contemplation. After several moments, he spoke. Send this to the High Council, Market Priority Ultra, and Zix 427. Begin preparing the trial chambers. All of them. All of them, she asked, her processes stuttering at the implication. But no species has ever. No species like this has ever applied. Nixis interrupted. The humans want to take all trials simultaneously. Let them try. Either we're about to witness the most spectacular failure in Federation history, or we're about to learn that everything we think we know about species development is wrong. As Zix 427 began the massive task of preparing all trial chambers for simultaneous use, she found herself experiencing an unfamiliar sensation. It took several microseconds for her to identify it. Excitement. For the first time in her 900 years of service, she had no idea what was going to happen next. The humans had already achieved the impossible simply by submitting their application. She couldn't help but wonder, what other impossible things were they capable of? Chief Evaluator Mira X9 had prepared for every contingency before arriving on Earth. Her environmental suit was rated for extreme conditions, her psychological barriers were at maximum, and she had studied every available piece of data about humans. But nothing could have prepared her for the actual experience of their world. She stood in what humans called a park in their New York City, her sensors struggling to process the contradictions around her. The air contained numerous pollutants, yet humans jogged past her without protection. The temperature was an uncomfortable 35 degrees Celsius, yet children played in the scorching sun, their laughter echoing across the green space. A small flying creature, a pigeon, her database supplied, defecated nearby, and humans simply stepped around the biohazard as if it were normal. Fascinating, isn't it? Her colleague, Observer Kel 6, materialized beside her, his chameleonic camouflage shifting to match the surroundings. I've been watching them for 6 hours. A human female just ran past me for the 8th time. Running. Voluntarily. In this heat. For something they call exercise. Mira X9 adjusted her sensors, focusing on a group of humans practicing some form of combat ritual on the grass. They're constantly training for combat, she noted with concern. That's what I thought at first, Kel 6 replied. But according to their information networks, this is called yoga. It's meant to be relaxing. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden loud crash from a nearby street. Both observers turned their sensors toward the sound, expecting panic and chaos. Instead, they witnessed something extraordinary. A ground transport vehicle had malfunctioned, crashing into a food distribution center's exterior. Before their emergency services could arrive, nearby humans were already responding. A young female in what their database identified as business attire was helping passengers out of the vehicle. An elderly male was directing traffic around the scene. A group of teenagers were using their primitive communication devices to alert authorities. No hesitation, Mira X9 murmured. No species-wide emergency protocols, just immediate individual action. Look at their facial expressions, Kel 6 added. Some are even smiling as they help, as if dealing with crisis is enjoyable to them. Their observations were interrupted by an incoming priority transmission from the High Council. Mira X9 accepted the connection, her neural patterns aligning to receive the message. The news made her external luminescence flicker in shock. The humans, she announced to Kel 6, have rejected our offer of standard preparation time. They want to begin the trials tomorrow. Kel 6's camouflage rippled with surprise. But we haven't even completed our preliminary evaluation. The psychological assessment alone typically takes 3 years. They said, and I'm translating directly here, they said, we learn best by doing. Besides, why wait? Both observers turned their attention back to the crash scene. The humans had already organized themselves into an efficient response unit, clearing debris and ensuring the area was safe. Someone had even set up an impromptu refreshment station for the emergency workers who were just arriving. Perhaps, Mira X9 said slowly, our standard evaluation protocols are inadequate for this species. They don't seem to operate according to any of our established patterns. What do you recommend? We report what we've seen. And she paused, watching as a human child fearlessly approached their cloaked forms, waved with a smile, and continued playing. And we prepare ourselves for the possibility that we're not really the ones doing the evaluating here. As they prepared their report for the High Council, more emergency vehicles arrived at the crash scene, their sirens wailing. The humans nearby didn't flinch at the loud noise. Some even seemed to perk up with interest, as if the chaos were somehow energizing. One final observation, Kel 6 noted. In the time we've been watching, I've recorded humans casually discussing topics that would traumatize most species. death, disaster, their planet's inevitable doom. They don't just acknowledge these terrors, they make entertainment out of them. Yes, Mira X9 agreed. And tomorrow, we're going to put them through trials designed to break a species' spirit by exposing them to their greatest fears. She paused. I'm starting to wonder, what exactly do humans fear? As if in answer, a massive thunderstorm broke over the city. While the observers reinforced their protective fields, they watched in amazement as humans simply opened portable rain shields, umbrellas, their database supplied, and continued about their business. Some young humans even ran out into the rain, deliberately getting wet while expressing joy. Trial Master Vexlanda stood in the Federation's legendary Hall of Trials, surrounded by the most sophisticated testing chambers ever created. Each chamber was designed to push sentient species to their absolute limits, to ensure they were truly ready for the responsibilities of advanced civilization status. In 10,000 years, no species had ever attempted all chambers simultaneously. Until now. Human representatives, Vexlanda addressed the small group before him. You have been warned of the dangers. The psychological strain of multiple simultaneous trials has been deemed. Yeah, we got the waivers, interrupted Sarah Chen, the human team's designated spokesperson. She was grinning, actually grinning, as she faced trials that had driven entire civilizations to collapse. Quick question, though. Are we allowed to talk to each other during the trials? Maybe share notes. Vexlanda's crystalline form flickered in confusion. Share notes. These are trials of ultimate significance, designed to test the very foundations of your species' psychological and philosophical development. Right, Sarah nodded, but teamwork makes the dream work. So, is that a yes on the talking? Before Vexlanda could respond, warning signals flashed throughout the chamber. The human delegation's medical monitors were showing alarming readings. Their cortisol levels were elevated, heart rates increased, endorphin production spiking. Are you experiencing anxiety? Vexlanda asked, ready to abort the trials. Your biological readings indicate. Oh, Marcus Rodriguez, another human delegate, laughed. Nah, mate, that's just excitement. We're stoked to get started. Stoked, Vexlanda repeated, adding another bewildering human term to his database. You are eager to face trials that could shatter your species' collective psyche. Well, we figured it's like a escape room crossed with a haunted house, offered Dr. Kai Patel, their scientific advisor, except with more philosophical implications and potential species-wide consequences. Fun. Vexlanda turned to his assistant, trial observer Lyra 8. Are they exhibiting signs of pretrial psychosis? According to their baseline readings, Lyra 8 responded, this appears to be normal human behavior. The first trial chamber hummed to life, its ancient mechanisms preparing to subject the humans to their worst fears. The chamber was legendary. The arachnoids of Sigma 9 had faced it and chosen to remain a pre-industrial civilization, rather than risk facing it again. Sarah stepped forward, still smiling. So this first one's the fear chamber, right? The one that's supposed to show us our deepest terrors. Correct, Vexlanda confirmed. It will reach into your species' collective unconscious and manifest. Cool, Sarah interrupted again. Hey team, remember that horror movie marathon we did for prep? I'm thinking those might come in handy. Oh yeah, Marcus grinned, pulling out what appeared to be a snack container. Anyone want popcorn before we start? Vexlanda's form rippled with shock. You prepared for the fear trials by deliberately exposing yourselves to frightening stimuli. For entertainment. Best way to build up a tolerance, Dr. Paddle explained, accepting some popcorn. Plus, humans have this weird thing where we kind of enjoy being scared. Under controlled conditions, of course. Controlled conditions, Lyra 8 repeated faintly. You consider these trials controlled conditions. Well, you're running them, right? Sarah shrugged. We figure you're not actually trying to kill us, just test us. So yeah, controlled conditions. Now about that teamwork question. Vexlanda exchanged glances with Lyra 8, both of their forms flickering with uncertainty. The trials were designed to be faced in solemn isolation, each species confronting their demons alone. But humans, it seemed, approached even existential terror as a team sport. The trials do not forbid communication, Vexlanda admitted finally. Awesome. Sarah turned to her team. Okay, gang, remember, when in doubt, crack a joke. Nothing diffuses terror like humor. Ready? The humans gathered in a circle, placed their hands together in some sort of ritual gesture, and called out in unison, "Let's do this." As the first chamber's doors opened and the humans walked in chattering excitedly among themselves, Vexlanda received an urgent message from the High Council. They had been monitoring the situation and had one primary question. Are the humans treating our most sacred trials as entertainment? Looking at the humans' eager faces as they disappeared into the chamber, Vexlanda could only respond, "Honored Council, I believe they're treating it as something even more dangerous. They're treating it as a challenge to be enjoyed." The chamber sealed shut, and for the first time in his long career, Vexlanda found himself wondering if the trials were about to test the wrong subject. Perhaps it wasn't the humans who needed to prove themselves. Perhaps it was the trials themselves that were about to be tested. The control chamber of the Hall of Trials had never been so crowded. Word had spread through the Federation's administrative ranks, and now dozens of alien observers packed the space, their various forms shifting and shimmering as they watched the unprecedented event unfolding before them. "Impossible," whispered a quantum mind of Beta Centauri, its thought patterns crackling with disbelief. "They're attempting Chamber 7 while still in Chambers 3 and 4. Trial Master Vexlanda could only nod, his crystalline form vibrating with a mix of horror and fascination. On the primary display, Sarah Chen was casually solving philosophical paradoxes in Chamber 3, while discussing strategy with Marcus Rodriguez, who was simultaneously navigating the molecular reconstruction challenges in Chamber 4. Through their communication links, they could hear Dr. Patel humming what humans called show tunes while confronting existential horrors in Chamber 7. "They're treating the trials like a puzzle game," Trial Observer Lyra 8 noted, her voice tinged with wonder. "Look at Chamber 5. The observers turned their attention to where two other human team members, twins Maya and Raj Gupta, were tackling the infamous isolation chamber. The trial was designed to simulate complete cosmic solitude, to test how species handle the ultimate loneliness of existence. Previous species had emerged psychologically shattered, if they emerged at all. The Gupta twins, however, were using their trial time to compose what they called a musical. When you're stuck in space with an empty face, just remember you're not alone," Maya sang, her voice echoing through the chamber as she worked on complex facial equations. "Because somewhere out there, beyond despair, someone else is also on their own," Raj responded, while simultaneously solving quantum entanglement problems. They're making entertainment out of existential dread," a hive-mind administrator buzzed in confusion. "That's not even the most concerning part," Lyra 8 pointed out. "Look at their neural patterns during the fear responses." The assembled observers studied the human brain scans with growing amazement. When faced with their deepest fears, the humans' brains weren't just managing the terror. They were producing endorphins. They were enjoying it. "Sarah," Vexlanda called into the communication system, unable to contain his curiosity any longer. "Your team is facing challenges that have driven other species to madness. Yet you appear to be having fun." "Oh, totally." Sarah's voice came back cheerful, even as she navigated through a simulation of universal heat death. "I mean, when else do you get to tackle the fundamental questions of existence while your friends provide musical accompaniment? Speaking of which, hey Maya, Raj, that last verse was fire. Can you do one about entropy next?" The quantum mind's patterns swirled in confusion. "But the psychological strain." "Actually," Dr. Patel interrupted from Chamber 7, where he was calmly categorizing different types of cosmic horror. Humans have this neat trick where we can compartmentalize and process trauma through humor and creativity. We call it coping mechanisms. Plus, everything's better with friends. And snacks, Marcus added. Anyone want the last of the popcorn? I've just about figured out this whole molecular reconstruction thing, and I could totally beam it to your chambers. Vexlander's form flickered in alarm. You modified the molecular reconstruction apparatus to transport snack food between chambers. Well, yeah, Marcus replied as if it were obvious. Can't face the fundamental mysteries of the universe on an empty stomach, right? The control chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Not only were the humans attempting all trials simultaneously, not only were they maintaining psychological stability, they were actively modifying the ancient testing equipment to make their experience more enjoyable. Look at Chamber 9, Lyra 8 suddenly called out. Everyone turned to see Dr. Patil facing the ultimate trial. The truth of cosmic insignificance. The chamber was designed to show species their true place in the universe's vast, uncaring expanse. It had caused multiple civilizations to abandon their quest for advancement, choosing instead to find comfort in ignorance. Dr. Patel was taking notes. Fascinating implications for particle physics. His voice came through, completely steady. Hey Sarah, remember that theory you had about quantum consciousness? I think I just found supporting evidence in the fabric of existential despair. Awesome. Sarah responded. Trade you my philosophical paradox solutions for your cosmic horror notes after this. You got it. Oh, and Maya, Raj, loving the entropy song. Really captures the inevitable heat death of the universe. Very catchy. Vexlanda turned to the assembled observers, his form pulsing with the weight of revelation. We designed these trials to test species' readiness for the harsh truths of existence, he said slowly. But the humans, they don't need to be ready. They've been living with these truths all along. They'd just been doing it differently than we ever imagined possible. Through humor, Lyra 8 added. Through teamwork, the quantum mind buzzed. Through snacks, the hive mind administrator noted, sounding almost envious. And through the speakers, the Gupta twins launched into another verse of their cosmic entropy musical, while their teammates continued to rewrite everything the Federation thought they knew about facing the universe's greatest challenges. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Federation had never seen such a diverse gathering. Representatives from every member species packed the vast space, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of galactic civilization. At the center, the High Council's 13 members sat in their traditional formation, their energy forms flickering with barely contained agitation. And before them, all stood 5 humans, still munching on snacks they'd somehow synthesized using ancient trial equipment. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. First speaker Omega Prime began, their voice resonating through the chamber.